Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Sustainiacs. I'm Mike Vincent. She's Emma Whiteman. We are the Sustainiacs. I forget what number episode this is, but this is cool because I really wanted to do this one really bad, Emma, because I wanted to use the pun Optimus Primex. That's why I was pushing these guys so bad. So this one's going to be called Optimus Primex, and we've got Doug Borgsdorf. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I believe I did. Who is your business unit director at Primex, right?
I am.
Okay, so what does that mean? Give us a little bit of your Primex is a plastics manufacturer and much more. We'll get into that. Let's learn a little bit about you just to start off, right? How did you get stuck there? Did you get like this fungus on you like I did and I was stuck in transportation for the next 34 years? Just couldn't get rid of it, or what was it? How'd you get into plastics and what you're doing now?
It's a wild story. You don't have much. You don't have enough time to really go into it. But I'll give you the movie The Graduate. I worked in the hotel industry. Was in Boston. I met a guy, and he said, "Hey, I think that you should be in the plastics business." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, we make plastics colored." I said, "Doesn't it just come that way?" I don't know anything about it. And 2 weeks later, I was in the plastics business, working third shift and running an extruder and. That was 1994, and here we are.
Wow, so, what a recruiting technique. I thought maybe you'd turn around and say, let's take it outside, buddy.
It was. It was at a bar, so, hey.
I don't need to take that from you, man. I should be in plastics. Get out of here, man. So, and here you are. What? So 22? No. Yeah. Wow. Okay. 30 years, 28 years in the business.
28 years. Yep.
28 years in business. Excellent. Wow. That's a long time. So let's talk about, we're all about education and awareness, and that's what we're talking about here, right? We bring together really the corporate and the private citizens, the consumers, together, the two different sides, to kind of to melt away that hype and take away that division that we see so much in our population, particularly in politics, right? I'm not going to get into politics, but everybody knows we're very polarizing on our politics and so on, right? And everybody, including the plastics manufacturers, shocker, want the planet to be around for like a long time for the kids and everything else like that. So everybody's really on the same page. And the more we can understand what each other is doing and how we can help each other do that and share the burden of those responsibilities, the better things are going to be. Because getting rid of plastics is not the answer, folks. It just isn't. One, they're too ingrained. You can't. And two, can you imagine how awful things would be if we didn't have the benefits and blessings that we can get from plastic? It's the irresponsible use and irresponsible disposal and not reusing them that kills it, right? You and I both, Doug, know, and you know better than I do, that Primex has a great mission statement. Let's dig into that a little bit, right? Let's dig into that that mission statement. But first, who are you guys? And I have a feeling that when you say who is Primex, or explain who Primex is, you're going to tell us a bunch about that mission statement, because I've been there before, Emma, and I'll tell you what, the people walk the talk.
Yeah, Primex is we're pretty unique. I think that if you got to know us, our basis and our foundation is plastics, but we're a human capital company, and we wake up every day just like you do, and try to make everything better for the communities that we're in, and everything better for our employees. Everybody always says it's really easy. We can all go buy an extruder. We can all go buy equipment. Equipment is easy. The human side is not. That's really at the core of any business, is the people that you have around you. And that's what Primex built its foundation on. We're a family-run business since its infancy. And we still value that just like it was over 50 years ago when we started. So that's why we entrench ourselves, or try to entrench ourselves in our communities to really be a leader. Everybody always talks about its profits, this, and every business is in business to make money, but we talk about sustainable growth, and that now comes with a lot of responsibility for how we operate. So again, when we wake up, we're just like everybody else. We're waking up to try and make sure that we're good stewards of our community, which is also our planet. And then
Yeah,
obviously
exactly.
employees, right? So, and we know plastics isn't going to go anywhere. It saves lives every day. So how we better do that and are responsible manufacturers is no different than how the steel manufacturers had to be better steel manufacturers in their beginnings. We every day we want to be better than we were yesterday. And I think everybody wakes up and says, I want to be better for my kids. I want to be a better dad. I want to be a better mom. I want to be a better neighbor. It's just instilled in us.
Right. So what does that look like for Primex? So I see your mission statement here, but for those people that might not see it right here, like what does community engagement look like and bettering the planet? Like how does that take form with Primex?
Well, there's an array of ways to look at it. Obviously, 9 manufacturing facilities across the country and in the UK is you first have to start at home. So obviously, there's two prongs to that, and I love when you guys talk about education. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that we really try to do is go talk to the youngsters. Mm-hmm. Right? We go. We had Girls Inc. in for a tour. Or I was just at one of the elementary schools walking through, and how we can educate the kids today on. There is a great path in the manufacturing world, not just in plastics, just in general, a great career opportunity.
Sure.
And we need those great, crafty, cool ideas that, if I need help today, I'm calling my son at IU, like, I can't get my iPhone to do this. Right?
Exactly.
So we need that. So the first step is to go out and engage ourselves with the youth on what plastics really is, what it really does. How do we really protect doctors, nurses? How do we make a car more efficient? And really talk about, but please, when you're done with that plastic bottle, don't throw it over the edge of the boat, because we can do some really cool things with that if you tell your mom and dad just to put it in the right bin. So you have to start at that age, because a lot of times you get programmed to say where plastics is like this big floating island in the ocean. Well, I'm a plastics manufacturer. I didn't throw it in the ocean. And I promise you, Primex doesn't. We want everything that you can give us back. We want it back.
That is a great statement. It is also, as you well know, and Emma well knows, it is a hot button for a lot of people, right? That will say that, back in the 80s, et cetera, we were sold this bill of goods about how it's great for you. And we used to see the Native Americans standing by the side of the road with a tear in his eye, and they've been blaming the consumer ever since. Well, I don't believe that's the case. And I don't believe Primex says, hey, it's the consumer's fault. What you're saying is it's both sides, right? We both have to work together and understand that that's what it is. I mean, because as well as I do, Doug, we talked about this before. CEO of P&G not a year ago said we can't hit our ESG goals because we can't get enough plastic back. They want the plastic. It's the infrastructure and stuff like that is screwed up. So
you as a corporation can only be so proactive about getting it back.
Right.
You have to meet in the middle, because you need to say, okay, we have these programs available for people who to do some damage control, but then also on the flip side, we can't do that. We can't do our recycling if we have nothing to recycle, right? I mean, it really is.
How do you build that infrastructure, and how do you support that infrastructure? And I think that's, again, why we try to engage in the community, and especially with the youth, because the crafty ideas, let's be honest, today the technology's there, and the more ideas we can get, it's like any company. I'm sitting in my office right now, but I spend very limited time in my office. The actual fun and the energy is on the floor.
Oh,
the fun and the energy is in the classroom. That's where the ideas are coming from. So the more we can educate and get ideas on how we can be better stewards, the better off we all are. And it has to work in unison.
It does. And I love the fact that you talked about talking to the kids, because they'll go to the parents and say, hey, it'll work if you do this and throw your plastics there. And this is how easy it is. Because not only are you educating the future stewards of the planet, but you're also educating and changing the mindset of the baby boomers and the Gen Xers and like myself. And you're pretty close. I'm probably closer to a baby boomer than you are, actually. But it is... it's that shame and blame that works, right?
Well,
a kid said, hey, just
that's
do
the
this.
way the world's been built now. Is the whole world is an excuse. We're going to point the finger here and point the finger there.
Well, you're getting the kids to tell the parents, hey, do this, right? That works.
Yeah, I don't want to get into the politics of it. I want to get into the being, and Primex does. That's one of the reasons I joined Primex 8 years ago, was because they have that passion and they let you run with it. They don't hold you back. You can go explore new ideas, and they like when you trip and fall. So we're all going to trip and fall, but aren't we supposed to just pick each other up?
Yeah.
Right. And this is something we talk about all the time on the pod. Like, if you're not trying anything, nothing will ever get done. If you're sticking to the same mold that you know and you're never exploring new options, like, you will not get the results that you want to see, because you need that trial and error. You need that falling down and helping each other back up and learning from each other to actually make a difference. So, yeah.
I always laugh. I said, this is a horrible description, but the best time in my career, the best reminder of how we as a country and a human race adapt, was COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So these challenges opened up. Nobody thought the world was going to get locked down. And all of a sudden we needed to be inventing dividers or face shields for our medical professionals. And Primex never did that.
No.
And it all came out of hourly employees. So, but it's a good reminder as a leader in the plastics business is being adaptable, right? And listening. And I think that's one of the things that the plastics industry is getting better, but we still need to listen more to the ideas of how we can become even stronger.
Right. So let's talk about that a little bit. And I agree with you 100%. I mean, the pandemic was amazing for advancing our society in many, many ways. Advancements, the biggest leaps forward in any society, and it's particularly the ones that we have right now, we just saw it happen during times of big stressful situations. Yeah. That's when things, Frank Zappa said it, right? I mean, necessity is the mother of invention. No, he didn't say.
It doesn't surprise me.
He said, watch out for that yellow snow. But he did have the mothers of invention that's what it was. Anyways, you know what I'm saying. Necessity breeds invention, and you're talking about that. Now, Primex has been around for a while, and I get why you joined them, because you're coming across loud and clear. One of their things in their community and their mission statement says corporate behavior and protect the environment. Protect the environment has changed since that was written, has it not? I mean, that's a huge difference. It used to be in the production side only, right? Produce in a responsible manner. But now the plastics industry and all of us are learning how the other end of that has to be done, right? Can you talk about that, how that has changed over the years?
It really has changed. I mean, before you made a product, you pushed the product out the door, you sold it, you hopefully made your margin, and you moved on. Primex took a really different approach, and we chased that product all the way through its entire life cycle to our customers. And they say, hey, well, I end up only using 90% of what you send to me. And it's, well, okay, well, we want the 10% back. And so we set trucks and trailers up to bring everything back, put it back into a product. So that was step one. So there's two sides to that. Obviously, there's always a need for us to get more and more back, so we can grow the business in a sustainable way. But we also wanted to reduce the strain on some of our smaller customers. I mean, we literally are behind the scenes. You don't go and buy a Primex shampoo bottle. You don't go and buy a Primex canoe.
I was going to say, you guys are like the BASF of plastics, right? Remember those commercials? We don't make the light bulb. We make the light bulb better. That's what you guys are, right? Yeah. Gotcha.
And really, we were built by an entrepreneur who respected entrepreneurs. So we really stay behind the scenes and try and be crafty of how we support them. Well, then we see that, okay, we have to be better stewards of the world. So if you're not using all of what we send you, we want it back. We'll buy it back. We'll help you come up with a way so it doesn't end up in the compactor. So that's one way. The other way is being very responsible for the pellets that we use.
Mhm.
So they don't go into the water stream. They don't fall on the floor. And that goes all the way down to the person in the hourly in the plant. So I don't think there's one person, if you went through Primex, who doesn't understand the value that it is to not let stuff go to waste.
Yeah.
And
You
we
talk
will,
about you talk about nurdles, right? The little pellets, aren't they called
yeah,
nurdles as well?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's so important. But I mean, so before we sold the product, we shipped the product, you paid us. Now we're engaged and entrenched with you about, okay, well, what could we do with that product? And a lot of the times, and it was so exciting, is you can bring back that and make a secondary product for that customer to grow. Where now they're saying, well, I'm using 30%, 40%, 50% recycled content, and it's their own product.
They
Mm.
didn't change anything, right? It's their same product.
Yeah, it's so cool. And
Yeah.
I don't know how, I always said when I got in the plastics industry, I walked in, I smelled melting plastic, and it excites you because you're nervous about a new job.
Yeah.
Every
Sure.
day I walk into Primex and I get excited about, well, man, what are we going to make next? What are we going to do next? What is our customer going to design? It's so much fun to see. I get goosebumps even talking about it.
So are you guys actually making products for people as well, like branded products for them, like you're making bespoke things, or are you guys making the plastics that then go to other manufacturers, or both?
Well, it's really unique. When you talked about before, Primex is very vertically integrated. So we're 3 divisions. So we have a color group that makes additives, UV stabilizers, flame retardants for automotive applications, impact modifiers. We then have the sheet group, which is our largest. We're extruding sheet. You'd see that in portable potties, kayaks, canoes, paddle boats,
Right.
returnable pallets, plastic pallets to reduce the use of lumber. And then you have our fabrication group, which is our smaller group, and they do everything from returnable packaging to ship headlight housings back and forth through automotive, all the way to signages that you would see in Home Depot or Menards, where they're trying to reduce the use of cardboard and lumber, because the plastic can be brought back, reground, and re-extruded and put back into a package. So it's a really unique system. So we always say we're behind the scenes. We don't make a product. So mostly what we're doing is we're servicing, big box stores or big brands.
Gotcha. So you guys, in your expanded, I did the full sustainability mission statement, and I've got questions about it because I think it really, really speaks to what you guys are doing there. It's excellent, very, very well written. Did you write it, Doug?
I did not.
Okay.
I give a lot of credit. We have Blake runs our plant in Reedsburg, and he has a sustainability team that encompasses about 10 people across all our business units.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They came up with that, and they really hit a home run.
No, they really did. It really is good. I could tell how ingrained it is because you're speaking to it very, very well. And I saw the video that I posted the video. So go check that out on my LinkedIn and Twitter and all that kind of stuff at the Sustainiacs, and also Michael Vincent. I put out the video of you talking about, and a lot of it shows through this. But you in it, you say the Primex family of companies is dedicated to meeting the needs of the present without compromising the needs of the future. And that's what we're talking about right there. That is right off the bat, right in the beginning. Pow, you really don't even have to say anything else. But you guys further go into that. But what does that look like? And what is that balance at Primex? Because we talk about how we get to that future, and sometimes you got to make some investments, and it's going to be a little bit before you see those returns, right? What does that look like in your opinion for Primex and maybe the plastics industry at large?
I mean, starting here at home with Primex is, and I love that we're a family business. We drive that home. When I walk through the plant, I have couples. So I have Mike Fritz, who runs my third shift. His wife Maria runs our quality in our sample department on first shift. So it's a family business. So, and they have kids. So at Primex, if we're not reminded walking through our plant, I mean, our president, Mike Kramer, has been with the organization for over 45 years and started on the production floor. So we want to give our community and our employees the opportunity for their kids to work for us, so their grandkids to work for us. So if we're not thinking down the road, we always say 80-20, and it's really become 50-50. 80-20 is 80% of what we need to do today to have the business function, 20% looking down the road.
Right.
Because we're in plastics, we've really shifted to 50% to take care of today, and 50% what do we need to do to make sure it's sustainable for generation 3, 4, 5. And so that's really what the core has become. And it does take investment. I mean, our capital expenditures are, I'd say 30% of them are all related to how do we make plastics more viable or more sustainable in the future? How do we recapture more from our customers? Do we up what we buy back? Do we park trucks at their facilities? Do we find a sorting facility? And we have obviously all of our facilities recycle, but obviously in Richmond, Indiana, we have one that recycles over 200 million pounds a year. All combined will be north of 260 this year.
Yeah, that's what I got. I mean, that's on your website, and that's what's in that video as well. It's amazing. It's, I mean, you know, wow, that's more than entire communities do.
Yeah, it makes it nice for our customers, but then same thing when we talk about education, and I think education is key. We're doing a bottle cap, you know, propylene cap with the local schools where they bring them back. And water bottles, and we bring them in and we show them what we can do with them. Now we're spending a lot of our investment dollars on how do we separate plastics, how do we modify them to make sure they're sustainable for the next application, how do we make sure they're colored, because a lot of time you'll see plastic and it's 100% recycled and it only comes in a shade of gray or black, right? So now we're saying, well, wait a minute, we could make it a really slick color and we can reuse it 2 or 3 or 4 times before its life cycle's over. So those are a lot of the investment dollars. I think, again, like I said before,
see that?
I think there's a guitar pick made out of recycled plastic.
You're darn right. Those are bottle caps specifically. Some of the coolest stuff. Yeah.
But I think, you know, what we found out over the last couple of years is we can throw a lot of money at equipment. And now what we're really doing is, and we have a very, very slick human capital development plan. We're investing in our employees to say, go and find what you want to try and tell us what we should be doing. It's so easy when you get to, I have the director title. I'm only as good as the people I have giving me ideas.
Well, so that kind of brings up another question, I feel like, for me. So, like, another part of your mission statement is sustainability is collaborative, interdisciplinary field, which all stakeholders contribute, which I love that idea. So who are those stakeholders? Like, who are you exactly considering as your...
Well, our stakeholders are everybody who comes in contact with Primex, whether that's a customer, a supplier. The last thing that we always talk about is the shareholders. That's the furthest down because everything else is easy, right? For them, if we line up all those, so our communities are stakeholders, so we educate the community, we educate our employees on, if you have an idea, there is literally no wrong idea. And we always laugh, if you're in first or second grade and they ask you what 2 + 2 is, we're all like this. Because we all know. Then you get into junior high and not everybody raises their hand. And by the time you're in high school, the only ones who raise their hands are the ones that, I probably picked on when I was a jerk, right?
I love that. I love that, but it's so true.
It is true. So what Primex is really trying to do is, if you don't know or you have an idea, raise your hand. I mean, we instill that whole idea of, hey, what should we do with that? We don't know. What do you think? And I think some of the best ideas that have made Primex the most exciting company, and they do very well, it's come from the hourly employees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So cool. It really is. I learned from somebody not early on, but probably about 6 years ago, I met this gentleman. Excellent person, very good friend. But what he taught me was looking for good employees and good leaders was really looking for that quality that he called intellectual curiosity. And those are the people that don't care that you want to go home and the meeting's gone on too long. They're still going to ask that question because they got a question, and you can't squash that type of stuff because you're right. That's where the best stuff comes from is from those, when everybody's free to make mistakes. If everything were perfect, we wouldn't have all this creative beauty in the world and stuff. It came from chaos and mistakes is where all this came from, and heartache.
If people weren't meant to make mistakes, there would be no sense of innovation because you'd be too afraid to try. You know,
that's exactly right.
That's why I'm sitting in this chair, because I made 100 mistakes, so I have a resume of mistakes to say, "Oh yeah, I won't do that again," because here's what happened last time.
Yeah. I remember reading a story where it was talking about IBM, where the guy who decided not to do the the personal computers because IBM like passed on it and didn't do it, and they got crushed. And he was going in and handed his resignation, and say, "Yeah, I really screwed up that one." And the president and the CEO says, "Why would I get rid of you? Now I just spent like $15 billion teaching you a lesson."
Right. Or like Henry Ford, he built his first car and he built it in the garage, and then the door wasn't wide enough to bring it out.
They couldn't get it out of the
garage. So we might have a great idea, and then we're stuck in a box. So we need somebody to, hey, well, I got the box cutter. We'll open the box. We'll figure it out, right?
Yeah. So talk about this. So the next part of this I wanted to break down was we achieve a sustainable business by using energy efficient technologies, expanding recycling efforts, reducing waste, and improving operational efficiencies, which are you can't cover it anymore than if you unless you cover what you already did, which is really the human capital and valuing the human assets that you have in your business, which you obviously do. But break that down a little bit as far as what does that mean and how does that work at Primex? And we want to hear about the entire industry as well, right? I mean, Primex is obviously one of those leaders, at least in the thought, if not execution. And I would hazard a guess that the execution is excellent as well, as you've already given example over example. But where are you guys at according to the rest of the industry? Because we talked about your sense of 50-50, and I wanted to ask on that 50-50 investment, is the plastics manufacturing industry all on board with that, or are those that are lagging behind?
Well, I think you have to be fair is what can each business absorb, right? Yeah. Because it takes time and commitment to make these investments. So if you're an entrepreneur and a smaller business, 5-6 people, you can do a lot of sustainable efforts, but maybe you don't have the capital to make the investments. You're not at that level yet. And I think we as a plastics industry, we've always been very guarded, right, of our businesses. And I really love the co-opetition. So I think there has to be a lot more of sharing ideas, water conservation. How did you make your plant greener than this plant? Or was Wisconsin more friendly than Texas? Or was Texas more friendly than Massachusetts? And I think that there has to be a lot more focus on letting your guard down and sharing the ideas and not think I've got the playbook, right? This isn't football, right? And we're not going for the Super Bowl. We want to have sustainable businesses that grow and protect planet Earth and create jobs for everybody. But I think we still have this it's my book. Okay, I can buy the recipe for the Olive Garden soup on 19 websites, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So why don't we just let me peek at your book, I'll peek at mine, and wow, if we put those two together, and I still just think that we as an industry can do a lot better of sharing our mistakes, right? Okay, we tried this, it didn't work. Oh, well, you have this additive, maybe that'll work. So I would still like to see that happened. The Primex has the 3 business units, so we're a little bit blessed because each business unit services a different industry, although it's still plastics.
Yeah.
So we have a little insight into different markets that some companies who are just maybe one market focused don't see. So I think the key would be for us is just everybody share more ideas.
I love that. And it goes back to the sense of community too. And that is something also that you had in the sustainability mission statement. And I won't read the whole thing out. I'll post it after this, but you do talk about Primex as being a member of the community. So I guess I would wonder, I love that. First of all, I think that's amazing. And do you think this you kind of already answered this, but do you think this is rare? Like, do you think that there are more companies that are starting to come around to this idea of like we're a community with the rest of the people on the planet? Or do you think that people really still aren't listening and they're just keeping their secrets? They're not helping their communities and helping each other.
Well, this could get me in trouble, but I'll say
we can cut it.
No, that's okay. I think it's important for people.
He's a rebel. He's a rebel.
He's going in.
You know, companies get letters all the time.
Sure.
Can I get $200 for this charity, or $50 for this, or we're doing that? And lots of times you just write the check, right?
Yeah, sure.
I think we've done a very good job. And of course, Richmond is based in a smaller community. We're about 38,000 people. We're not going to just write you a check. We're going to come. We're going to show up. We're going to, we're going to bring employees. We're going to, we want to be part. We don't want to just write a check for something. We want to understand.
Say you're part of it. You want to be part of it.
Yeah, we want to be part of it. What's the goal?
I love that.
Where are you going with this? Okay, well, one recent one was a Parkinson's event. We get it. It's something that we're passionate about. But we're not going to just write you a check. We want to come. We want to serve the coffee. We want to talk to people. We want to understand how we can help them meet their goals. And I think that goes back to the same values we have with our customers. What are you trying to accomplish 5 years from now? And then we're going to get on board. What do our, right. My digital marketing coordinator, Kayla, started as my assistant. She goes, I want to get into marketing. Okay, well, 3 years later, she's the digital marketing coordinator. We put a path together. That was her goal. That was her passion. Okay, great. That's what we should do. And I think a lot of businesses do very well at this. I think they get engaged. But it starts at home. It starts in your small local community, making an impact, and then just branching out from there. And I mean, I hate to, it's the pay it forward movie. If we could pick up 4 or 5 people who get, wow, we learned something, we got a new idea. That's the new entrepreneurs that we need.
It is. It's also brilliant marketing. And when you say marketing, you think, well, we're just trying to make money off of telling people what we do. But in this case, and in really the case that I'm talking about, the marketing is really letting people know what you're doing and that you're serious about it, because it ingrains in them that they too can do something and that it's not all bad in this world. When you go out and just say, hey, we're sustainable and that's it, it doesn't mean anything. Or we care about our community. It doesn't mean anything. It's like we're taught.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm sure it also, like, I'm thinking about it from the standpoint of, like, a lot of people have distrust for plastic companies. It's like, oh, you're the devil, you're making all the plastic, whatever. But I really think that, like, you're not just coming in and saying, oh, we're part of your community and we're here with you, and like stamping a green leaf on your stuff. Like, you're actually showing up. And I'm sure that helps speak to the sincerity of the company. And it's not just...
It really does. And bravo to you guys, because it is so important. You see all the studies that are out there. 87% will not buy from you unless you have a sustainability program and you can prove it. Or, I mean, if your competitor does and you don't, you're going to lose those people. You also can't get people like Kayla. If you have a terrible, if you don't have a sustainability, you're not working towards, environmental sustainability and human rights and so on and so forth, and don't have a good, strong ESG message and CSR message in your company, Kayla's not going to come work for you. She's not. And once she gets there, if it's BS, she's gone. You're not going to retain her. She's gone. She's going to be to somebody else. So you guys are definitely doing it right. One of the things that I see over and over in here, and I heard it from you, we talked about, are you the BASF of plastics, right? So to speak, right? And you kind of are, right? You guys aren't really B2C. You're B2B, right? And when you say, you've got this strong urge, I mean, and I get it. I understand your sustainability and your commitment and your mission for being strong stewards and educating the future stewards of our planet. I get it. That's what we talk about here as well. How about your customers? How much is it of you selling this to your customers? And how much would you say is your customers pulling it from you? What's that demand for your customers? How accepting are they of this? Would you say that kind of ratio is there? I know you're a leader in some ways, and there's some that are asking you. I guess what I'm asking is the community of manufacturers embracing this, and are you seeing more and more demand for this type of stuff, and you've got to step up your game in order to meet that?
Can I ask a quick question? What is BASF? I've never heard that term before.
Oh, it's a huge chemical company.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're massive. They're
Okay.
massive, and they were like before, that Intel Inside, the Intel Inside that you see,
Yeah.
right? So the Intel Inside, I mean, you don't buy an Intel computer, but Intel makes it run. They're inside it, right?
Mhm.
Before them, there used to be these commercials from BASF, which is this huge chemical company, and they really didn't tell you much of what they did other than, we don't make the pen, we make the pen better. BASF.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And that would be about it.
Well, I'm not comparing myself to BASF or Primex.
I mean, yeah, right. I'm not saying you're that
I
big, but I'm just saying you guys are not selling to the consumer. You're selling to the business and to make their products better to be able to sell, and their efficiencies better to be able to sell to the computer.
Right. And I think it's what's important is what we've seen, in the beginning, Primex and our ownership took a very strong stance that we were going to be leaders in what we talk about our community and our employees and environment. Obviously, with legislation and the market buzz of oceans being filled with plastics, and there's been a shift. The shift is it's very difficult to recycle plastics and make a new product out of it. It's costly. Most of the time, the consumers don't want to spend more for a product that's been recycled or renewable because it's 40 or 50% more. Now what you're seeing is when you have a business like ours that's B2B, where we can actually partner with our customers or partner with suppliers, that we're changing that narrative. We're changing that cost structure because we're sharing and collaborating on how do we create a better product and make it consumer friendly and economical. And that was always the trick. We could have told you 5 years ago we could make every canoe in the world could be recycled and it'll cost you $9,000 a canoe. Well, nobody's going to pay that.
That is true.
But that's that shift. The consumer has to respect that what we're trying to do is deliver a product that still allows them to buy both, Doug and Julie their canoe to go out on the lake and make it affordable for the family. And then work with the producers to say, the manufacturers of that, how can we help you put 30 or 40% back in there to make it that way? So I think there's a huge shift. I think you'll see some shifts where people want to just say they're going to do it because they need that buzzword on their website, versus actually really engaging in that discussion. And sometimes they're not easy discussions.
No, they're not. They're not. You're right. You're right.
And when you look at your P&L and the investment, sometimes you have to say, I got to take a step backwards to take 5 steps forward. And that's not always an easy discussion if you're sitting in my chair with a board of directors to say, hey, I'm going to drive this business unit down to like break even for a little while while we do this stuff. Well,
hopefully you've got some visionaries and hopefully they understand the concept of fail fast and understand that this is what's got to do. Because I mean, how much of it moving forward and getting more and more, I guess, economically viable for consumers, et cetera, because there is a certain amount that at least say, and it's a majority that will say that they will spend a little bit more. Now, how much that is it varies, right? They're not going to spend $5 more for a pen, but they'll spend $5 more for like maybe, their shoes, right? Or something like that. It's a percentage type of thing. But so how much of that is like volume, that if we just get everybody to start doing this, the laws of competition and volume will start to bring this down, because there'll be so many more innovations in manufacturing and collection and processing and logistics of moving and its supply chains, et cetera, that it naturally has to come down. First, I remember flat screen TVs when I was in Miami were like $11,000 for one that was like a 17-inch.
Yep.
11 grand for a 17-inch flat screen TV. That's no bull. That was at a BrandsMart in I think it was in Hialeah. Now, now
Wow.
they're like, 150 bucks and you got a 55 inch.
But you bring up a good point. I mean, I think the more we focus on it, the stronger we get, and that's what manufacturing does. So when people look back through the course of time, is Ford didn't make the car; he figured out how to make more of them.
Right.
Right. So he wasn't the inventor of the vehicle; he just figured out how to make it more efficient.
As long as it was black.
Right, and that reason it was black is because it dried faster, right?
Well, and here's the thing I learned when I was selling cars at one point in my life, and one thing I learned, I was working for Honda and BMW, a dealership, and one thing I learned in a Honda is no matter what trim level you look at an Accord, they all have the exact same stuff. You'll see the same holes, you'll see the same stuff because they make them the exact same way. That's why their quality and their expense is the quality's high and the expense is so low comparative to other because they do it the same way no matter what it is.
And that's what's going to happen in manufacturing. I mean, the stronger we get and the more products we try and the more we trip, we get more efficient, right? So we will drive the cost down. We will, not every product can be 100% recycled plastic, but it can have a portion. We can put things back into it. And then we can capture it back. And then, of course, the other side of that is the plastics industry has to look at the developing worlds as well. And how do we help support their need for infrastructure to capture those things back? Because there's so much we can create with it. It's pretty exciting. And we'll get the efficiencies. I mean, that's what manufacturing does. We'll get them. We'll drive the cost down. But it's still new. We're going to trip. We're going to fall. But we'll get there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So three numbers: 200 million plus pounds, 375,000 square feet, and 300,000 kilowatt hours. These are some of the impacts that Primex is having, right? 200 million. Well, you said it, 260 million pounds you will reach, right? And recycled plastic being purchased, and plans. You look on the website, the plan is to grow that significantly and keep improving that. 375,000 square feet dedicated for recycling. So you're actually doing the collection and recycling of this plastic, not just buying the recycled plastic. Is that right? Is that what that means?
If you came into one of our facilities, and I always like taking the kids come in because they'll come and see a hot tub, or they'll see a canoe, or they'll see a porta potty, and they're like, "Why do you have all those stacked over there?" We're going to grind them up.
There you go.
We're going to grind them up. We're going to clean them. We're going to put them back into a plastic. We'd love to say that we're at 400 million pounds. We'll get to 400 million pounds.
Yeah.
Primex has something their foot forward. We're going to get to the point where we're recycling 400 million pounds annually.
Wow.
Now the other side is one of the other sides is energy. How is that doing? What are you guys doing in energy, renewable energy?
Well, our Rageburg facility really took that, and that goes back to Blake, who's on our sustainability team. Is he really focused his facility to be a green facility, and he worked with the local municipalities, and he achieved that. And the other side of that is driving down our water usage. Obviously everything we do is either cooled by water, and so we utilize a lot of water. And our Tennessee facility is recapturing their water that they use all day long and recycling it, so they don't. It used to just go right back into the storm system, and away it went. It's water, right? You turn it on the sink, it goes down the drain, and away it goes. Well, in a manufacturing facility, you're using thousands of gallons a day, so that's a huge focus for us as well. And then obviously the other side of that is allowing our employees to get back into the community. And we just had Earth Day planting trees and gave trees to all our employees, and we do what we can do. And then obviously the investments in lighting. There's all kinds of different things we're doing there. And actually, it goes back to what's the most important thing in your business, which is your people, right? So we're looking at how do we go back to. It sounds silly, but going back to the 30s and 40s, where you went by factories and they had a lot of windows. And everybody said, well, we got rid of those. Now we're just you go in the dark manufacturing building. So
Yeah.
we're looking at ways. How do we open it up? How do we let more natural light in? How do we be less dependent on electricity because we use a lot? But then also, I think it's two-sided. Our employees want to look outside,
Right.
right?
That's
I
true.
look
Why
outside.
would you want to be in a dark place?
Yeah,
All day.
fluorescent lighting makes you tired, and no, you need some vitamin D.
How do we
We love
let
that.
some natural light in without using electricity and make it a more of a campus environment? I mean, it will sound goofy or Google-ish or Apple or whatnot, but it's the same thing. When we came out of, COVID, we went back to being a little bit more business casual, not the sport coat every day. And I think the productivity went up, right?
Yeah. It's weird. People can actually get things done if they're wearing sweatpants. They can still actually work.
and it's good. I don't want any political advertisements on the T-shirt. We want to look presentable, but make it more of a campus environment. Let the juices flow, and that's what Primex is really doing across the board. And I think it's really working.
I love that.
Awesome. Well, hey, Doug, this has been awesome. I wanted to end. We always end on a news story, and this is no exception. We're going to do that, and we were going to actually have you on a week earlier, but you were involved in something much more important, and I agree 100% with this. You want to talk about this a little bit? I believe this is Prayers for Sierra, right? That you guys have been involved there in your community, your home community there, Primex's home community of Richmond, right?
Yeah, I think to be fair, I mean, we all watch the news. It's tough to watch sometimes these days.
Sure.
We've got a lot of violence throughout the world. However, Primex's headquarters in Richmond, Indiana, we're a small community, blue-collar manufacturing town. Again, about 38,000 people. We had an officer get wounded and then passed away. God. It's just one of those where what can you do in these situations? So originally we were just going to make a sign for our first responders for their yards with her pictures and prayers for her because she did hang on for quite some time. And then it then just got contagious, and we made 4,100 signs, and they were all over the community. We didn't ask for anything at all. But now we're collecting them back, and we're going to take those signs that were, in people's front yards and businesses, and we're going to re-extrude some sheet, and we're going to do a mural for the police department's training facility, and in a smaller mural for each one of our family members. So, but I think it's nothing that we did. It just had to be done. And I'll tell you what, like I said earlier, when COVID hit, I loved being a leader and seeing how we adapted. Sierra brought a community together, and now we can't let that go. So we have to really, just out of respect for her and her family, and it's not a business thing, it's not a marketing thing. It's how do we just latch arms and not let these things continue to happen. And that's, so it was a tragic event, as you could tell, but I'm so proud of, and this was down to, food trucks giving, all their profits to the family. And
No, creating awareness, bringing something good, because I believe that we are all the answer to prayers. And I'm not going to get too religious or anything, but I think we're all the answers to prayer. If you open yourself up to prayer, you're going to bless people. And this is a way to really open those people up to that. They still have time to get these signs back to you guys, right? You made 4,100. You're still collecting them, I believe, through this weekend, right?
Friday. Through the 14th of October. And I get it. Some signs we're not going to get back.
Yeah.
They're not getting mine back. I got it in my
I get it. Yeah.
It's a good reminder. But for the ones that, we do get back, I didn't want them to go anywhere else but back into something that would respect her memory. So that's what we're doing. And guess what? Because Primex made the investments, I had the luxury and the ability to do it.
Yeah.
So I didn't even, you know, what's great is I didn't even have to go up the ladder and ask anything. I just did it.
That's
right. It just
Yeah.
needed to be done. So, and again, I think that's, you know, but you, like you said, prayer and hugs go a long way.
They absolutely do. They absolutely do. I love it. I love it. Emma, you got anything else you want to grill Doug about?
Oh, I have so much more, but we have been on for quite a while. But I'm
can
very
always revisit. We can always
I was
revisit.
going to say we might have to.
Yeah.
It was funny. My Kayla told me, she goes, "Hey, do I need to come back and help you with this?" I'm like, "I think I can figure out how to get on my computer." And of course, then I struggled a little bit. But she's like, you know, they got it slated for like 45 minutes. But they must not know that you can talk forever. Now, you get me excited about, you know, the world and how we can do great things. You know, I'll come back anytime because I'll go home and be energized. My poor fiance is gonna be like, "Okay, I heard about it already."
Okay, yeah, right. Can we just watch The Voice or something now? Can you just?
I think you'll quit now that Blake Shelton's not going to be a judge.
He isn't. Wait, he's on this. He's on right now, isn't he? He's on this.
Yeah, but this is going to be his last year. He didn't renew.
Oh, well, he's been there for like 22 years anyway, so time to do something else. Time to do something else. But anyways, so Doug, where do people get, in touch with you guys? For us, hey, go to the Sustainiacs at gmail.com and send us comments, send us questions, hit us up. If you want to be on, you're in a business, hit us up there. Hit me up at Michael Vincent or the Sustainiacs on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. All those places is where I'm at. Emma, where are they hitting you up at?
I'm on Instagram, Emma_Sustainiacs. And actually right now I'm doing a Pets of the Pod series. So
I got to send you mine. I got to send you mine.
You want to show off, send it to me and I will post because
there you go, Doug. You got to send her something if you got a pet.
Last week when we were with
if you don't, just make it up, dude. He's got a pet.
I've got a great pet picture for you. So I'll
send it over to me.
Yeah.
Last week we were on the pod with Bonnie Monteleone, and both of our pets were just going wild. So I was like, you know what? I want to post these cute animals on my feed. So definitely send that over if anyone has any. That's good.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And Doug, where are people going to hit you up and learn more about Primex Plastics and what you guys are doing there sustainability wise?
I think the best way, and Kayla would be mad if I didn't say it, is go to our brand new website. It's, primexplastics.com. You can find all of our LinkedIn, our Facebook links there as well. And then, or you just shoot me an email right through our website and I guarantee I'll respond. So,
right on.
That's
Go there, people. Learn what the plastics industry is doing. There's good people out there trying to make it right, just like all of us are. And we all need to work together, as Doug pointed out in their mission and vision statement. And they're proving that they're doing it every day. So how about it, folks? Let's we need to embrace each other and sing a little kumbaya, maybe drink a little vino and get the job done, right? Amen.
I like the vino part for sure.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. All right, cool. Well, until next time, we'll see you guys.